Rain lashed against the vast glass windows of JFK Airport, the sky a blur of gray streaks and flashing lights. The terminal buzzed with travelers dragging suitcases, coffee cups in hand, voices blending into a constant hum of urgency. Emily Carter, 32 and running on caffeine and nerves, weaved through the crowd, clutching her sleepy 6-year-old son Noah, with one hand and an overstuffed duffel bag with the other. Her hair clung to her damp forehead, her coat half-buttoned, and her phone vibrating endlessly with work emails she had no time to answer. The flight announcement blared through the speakers. Final boarding call for Flight 87 to Chicago. Her stomach twisted. Of course they're boarding early. "Mommy, I'm tired," Noah mumbled, his head drooping onto her shoulder. "I know, baby, we're almost there," she whispered, forcing a smile she didn't feel. Her life had become an endless series of almosts. Almost on time, almost enough money, almost making it. Then it happened. Her suitcase zipper gave way, spilling clothes, crayons, and Noah's favorite stuffed dinosaur across the shiny floor. She dropped to her knees, mortified, scrambling to gather them before someone tripped. A pair of polished leather shoes stopped beside her. A deep, familiar voice said softly, "Here, let me help." Emily froze. Her heart stuttered. Slowly, she looked up into the steady gray-blue eyes of Liam Hayes, the man she hadn't seen in 10 years. Her first love. The one who got away. 10 years ago, the world had felt small and full of promise. The campus of Crestwood University buzzed with youth and ambition, and in the middle of it all were Emily Carter and Liam Hayes, two dreamers who believed love could conquer anything. They spent endless nights sprawled across library floors, sharing snacks and business textbooks, whispering about the empire they'd someday build together. Under the canopy of stars on the old football field, Liam had once taken her hand and said, "No matter where we end up, we chase the dream together. Promise me that." She had promised, eyes shining, heart full. But dreams have a cruel way of bending under life's weight. When Liam received the prestigious scholarship to study in London, Emily had cheered for him, even as her chest ached. "It's just a year," he'd said, kissing her forehead. "Then I'll come back, and we'll make it happen." Only a month after he left, Emily's mother fell gravely ill. The world that once felt full of possibilities suddenly shrank to the four walls of a hospital room. Letters were written, calls missed, and soon silence became their only connection. When her mother passed away, Emily searched for him, for comfort, for the promise they made. But Liam had already left for good. His emails unanswered. His phone number changed. All that remained was the memory of starlit promises that life had quietly stolen. For a heartbeat, time seemed to stop around them. The noise of rolling suitcases, boarding calls, and chattering travelers faded into a dull hum. Emily's breath caught in her throat as she stared at him. Older, sharper, impossibly composed. Liam Hayes no longer looked like the college boy who used to scribble business ideas on napkins. He stood before her in a tailored navy suit that fit like it had been made for him, which she suspected it probably had. A glinting watch peeked from under his cuff, catching the sterile airport light. He was the picture of success. And she was a picture of survival. "Emily," he said finally, a faint smile playing at his lips. "It's been a long time." "Yeah," she managed, forcing air into her lungs. "A decade, I think." When she bent to zip up the broken suitcase, Liam crouched beside her without hesitation. "Let me," he offered, effortlessly taking the heavier bag. "You don't have to." "I want to," he interrupted gently. They walked toward her gate, conversation awkward but warm. Emily found herself explaining bits of her life, juggling 2 part-time jobs, raising Noah alone, trying to make ends meet. Liam listened quietly, eyes softening, never once mentioning who he had become. At her side, Noah looked up at him curiously. "Are you Mommy's friend?" he asked. Liam chuckled, a sound that stirred something long dormant in Emily. "I used to be," he said. "Maybe I still am." Before she could respond, the loudspeaker called for boarding. She smiled nervously, thanked him, and hurried toward the gate with Noah in tow. Liam stood there, watching her disappear through the crowd. His heart heavier than he expected. Liam sat alone in the VIP lounge, the hum of conversation and clinking glasses fading into the background. His reflection in the glass wall looked every bit the man the world admired. Liam Hayes, CEO of Hayes Innovations, one of the fastest-growing tech companies in the country. He had everything most people spent their lives chasing: money, power, recognition. Yet, as he stared out at the rain-soaked runway, all he could feel was a dull ache pressing against his chest. Seeing Emily again had cracked something open inside him, something he had long buried beneath schedules, mergers, and board meetings. The way her eyes still lit up when she smiled, even through exhaustion, brought back flashes of the girl who believed in him before the world did. He remembered her laughter echoing across the old football field, her dreams intertwining with his. He had left chasing ambition, but in doing so, he'd lost the only person who made that ambition mean something. For years, he told himself he'd made the right choice, that success required sacrifice. But now, watching the storm outside, he realized that the emptiness he felt after every milestone wasn't from overwork. It was from absence. Emily's face haunted him, not as a memory, but as a possibility, a glimpse of what life could have been. For the first time in years, Liam wondered if fate was offering him a do-over, and whether he deserved it. Back at her sister's small suburban home, the scent of cinnamon tea and laundry detergent filled the air, warm, comforting, familiar. Emily dropped her bags by the door, her muscles aching from the long flight. Her sister, Claire, greeted her with a teasing grin. "So," Claire said, pouring 2 mugs of tea, "you ran into him again? The one who made you believe in fairy tales?" Emily rolled her eyes, hiding behind a forced laugh. "It's not like that anymore. He's different. Successful. Probably doesn't even remember the girl who wore thrift store sweaters and dreamed too big." Claire raised an eyebrow. "Oh, I bet he remembers. You were unforgettable, Em." Emily smiled faintly, but inside, a heaviness settled in her chest. She was happy for Liam, or at least she wanted to be. He'd made it. He had lived the dream they once shared. Meanwhile, her own days blurred into a cycle of working 2 part-time jobs, fighting overdue bills, and pretending everything was fine for Noah's sake. After dinner, when the house was quiet, Emily tucked Noah into bed. His tiny fingers clutched her hand. "Mommy, can we go on a real vacation someday?" he murmured sleepily. She brushed a curl from his forehead, her throat tightening. "Maybe someday, baby. Maybe someday things will get better." But as she turned off the light and sat in the darkness, Emily knew the truth. Dreaming had become a luxury she could no longer afford. 2 weeks later, as Emily scrolled through her overflowing inbox during her lunch break at the cafe, one subject line made her stop mid-bite. "Interview invitation, Hayes Innovations." Her heart skipped. The name felt familiar, almost poetic, as if the universe was playing a trick. She clicked it open, half expecting it to be spam. It wasn't. A legitimate offer. A marketing assistant position with competitive pay and full benefits. Her hands trembled slightly. A job like this could change everything. Still, she couldn't shake the feeling that it was too good to be true. On the morning of the interview, she borrowed her sister's blazer, straightened her hair, and took a deep breath before stepping into the towering glass building. The lobby gleamed, marble floors, sleek screens, and the faint scent of espresso. Her heart pounded as she gave her name to the receptionist. When she entered the conference room, she froze. There, standing by the window, was Liam Hayes. Older, sharper, undeniably the same man from the airport. For a split second, their eyes met. Shock flickered across his face before he masked it with calm professionalism. "Miss Carter," he said smoothly, extending his hand. "It's good to see you again." The interview went by in a blur of polite questions and steady answers. When it ended, Liam smiled gently. "Let's grab a coffee to catch up properly." Emily hesitated, pride and fear wrestling inside her, but curiosity won. Over steaming cups, they shared fragments of the years apart. His global ventures, her single mom battles, her quiet habit of writing business plans in old notebooks. Liam listened intently, moved by her strength and humility. When they parted, he offered his hand again, and the job. Working at Hayes Innovations became more than just a job for Emily. It became a rebirth. For the first time in years, she felt seen, valued, and capable of more than just survival. The sleek offices and demanding deadlines pushed her, but she thrived under the challenge. She poured creativity into every project, her ideas fresh and fearless, and soon found herself working directly with Liam on a high-profile marketing campaign. Their old rhythm returned effortlessly. Teasing banter over coffee breaks, shared laughter during brainstorming sessions, silent understanding in glances that lingered too long. Late nights in the office carried a comfortable familiarity, a reminder of who they once were, tempered now by experience and restraint. Still, Emily guarded her heart. She told herself she was just an employee, a single mom trying to provide stability, not a woman stepping into a fairy tale. She couldn't afford to blur the lines. Yet every time Liam smiled at her across a meeting table, the walls she'd built cracked just a little more. Liam, for his part, found it harder each day to maintain his composure. He admired her strength, her humility, her laughter that softened even the hardest boardroom moods. One quiet evening, as city lights glowed beyond the glass walls, Liam said softly, "All the success in the world doesn't mean much if you have no one to share it with." Emily met his gaze, words failing her. In the silence, everything unsaid shimmered between them. It started with whispers, subtle, sharp, and poisonous. A few co-workers began hinting that Emily's quick promotion and close work with Liam had little to do with talent and everything to do with favoritism. The rumors spread like wildfire through hushed hallways and shared glances. Emily pretended not to notice, but each passing comment felt like a stone against her chest. By the end of the week, she could barely focus. Every achievement now felt tainted, every smile questioned. One evening, after everyone had left, she sat alone at her desk and wrote her resignation letter. It was brief, polite, and final. She told herself it was the right thing, to leave before pride and gossip destroyed what little dignity she had rebuilt. When Liam found out, he stormed into her apartment later that night, confusion and hurt written across his face. "You're quitting? Without even talking to me?" Emily crossed her arms, fighting back tears. "I can't be the woman people think I am, someone who gets ahead because of a man. Especially you. Emily, that's not what this is." "Yes, it is," she snapped, voice trembling. "You left once before, Liam. I can't let you leave me broken again." He stood silent, realizing she wasn't angry at the rumors. She was terrified of history repeating itself. In that moment, he finally understood. Love wasn't about rescuing her. It was about standing beside her. But before he could say it, she was gone. Weeks slipped by in quiet monotony. Emily buried herself in freelance projects, juggling clients and deadlines late into the night. The apartment felt emptier than ever, not just from Liam's absence, but from the silence that lingered in his place. She told herself she was fine, that independence meant strength. Yet sometimes when she caught herself smiling at nothing, she realized she was thinking of him. One rainy evening, as she and Noah sat on the couch drawing together, he looked up with his innocent blue eyes and asked softly, "Mommy, will your friend come back? The one who made you laugh?" Emily froze. The crayons in her hand trembled. Out of the mouths of children came truths adults spent lifetimes avoiding. She blinked back sudden tears and smiled weakly. "I don't know, sweetheart." But that night, as Noah slept, his question echoed in her mind. She had spent years surviving, not living. Maybe running from Liam wasn't strength at all, but fear. Across the city, Hayes Innovations announced a new initiative, funding small businesses for single mothers. Liam called it the Rising Program. It was more than a project. It was his quiet tribute to the woman who had taught him what resilience really meant. A full year had passed, and life looked nothing like it once did. Emily Carter stood at the same bustling terminal of JFK Airport, but this time her steps were light, her heart steady. Her small business, Carter Creative Solutions, was thriving, thanks to the funding she'd received from the Rising program. She'd built something of her own, something she was proud of. Beside her, Noah chattered excitedly about beaches and airplanes, his laughter rising above the crowd. As Emily handed their tickets to the attendant, a familiar voice drifted over the noise. Warm, teasing, unforgettable. "Still missing flights, I see." Her heart stilled. She turned, and there he was, Liam Hayes, standing with a simple bouquet of lilies and a nervous smile. Gone was the polished CEO facade. He looked real, human, hopeful. "I never stopped looking for you," he said softly. "I just wanted to find you again when we both could stand tall." Tears welled in her eyes, laughter spilling out with them. "You found me, Liam." Noah tugged her sleeve, grinning. "Mommy, say yes." Emily smiled through her tears, taking Liam's hand. This time there were no missed flights, and no words left unsaid. 1 year later, Emily and Liam stood side by side, partners in every sense. Their joint venture, the Rising Collective, had become a beacon for struggling parents and dreamers who refused to give up. Success felt different now, warmer, shared, rooted in purpose. As Emily watched Noah run toward the airplane window, eyes wide with wonder, she smiled. "Sometimes," she whispered in voiceover, "love doesn't return when you're ready. It returns when you've learned to fly on your own." Liam's hand found hers, steady and sure. "Mommy, we're going to Paris," Noah shouted. Emily laughed. "Yes, sweetheart, we're finally flying."